together with some passengers carrying an empty coffin to Homa Bay, Kindu Bay area to attend a burial. And as we speak, we managed to talk to Homa Bay County CC in charge of health and also Homa Bay County County Commissioner David Kikemei. He was saying that their officers are already on the ground trying at least to trace those who, everybody who attended the funeral in Seka, North Garachuonyo North, at least to ensure that no one is coming into contact with them. And it is something, it was a message that really surprised many in Homa Bay County, especially Homa Bay County traders. They have really condemned what has happened. They were saying that and also blaming the security personnel, all the officers manning all the entry points, maybe moving out of Nairobi, that they have let the country down because the president himself gave directive that no one should leave Nairobi County, but these people managed at least to come out. And another issue here is yesterday, another group, 8 people moved, came all the way from Nairobi. They went to, according to the Homa Bay County Commissioner, he said that these people came with a letter from Nairobi County Commander saying that they were going to attend a burial in Homa Bay, in Mbita area. And currently they have been quarantined together with their children. And remember, they are saying that they will not allow anybody to come in Homa Bay without being screened, without being sanitized. And as you can see behind me, these are some, we are in Rodi, where there's a roadblock. This is where everybody coming into Homa Bay is being screened. And as you can see some health officers there. You can see security personnel. They are doing screening. They are doing sanitizing. After being screened, you are being sanitized so that you are allowed at least to go in Homa Bay town. And also those coming out of Homa Bay town, they are being screened again. They are also being sanitized, at least to enable this, at least to, as one of the ways of helping in the fight against the spread of this COVID-19. And we also made to understand that tomorrow the security personnel together with the health officers from Homa Bay County will be addressing press, at least to give more directive in Homa Bay County. Back to you.
If you may, Ojwang, if you can hear me, we know that there were 8 in that particular van, the people that were faking this particular funeral to gain access to Homa Bay from Nairobi, and we're told the driver apparently has tested positive. What of the other 7?
Okay, currently, Mark, as we speak, according to the information we are getting from health officers in Homa Bay County, they are saying that those people who travel with the said driver are currently being quarantined at Homa Bay KMTC, and also they are saying that those who attended the burial and also those people coming from the said family where the burial was taking place have been told not to leave that place, and whoever will try to move will face the law. And as we speak, according to the health officers or the CC in charge of health, Professor Muga, he told us that all, as we speak now, they have quarantined 30 people who are currently at Homa Bay KMTC. Mark?
Thank you for that. Bernardo Juang will be getting more updates on this particular story that you are following today. And on to something else that we're following. This is actually quite a good gesture at a time of a lot of sadness and people not being able to move about as they wish or they would wish on a regular Sunday. There is quite a good gesture here, and Setolale is at Mbagathi Hospital where some well-wishers and I believe also people who are in the health sector have gone to provide lunch or to take lunch to their colleagues who are on the line, in the line of duty, in the front line, actively right now taking care of patients. But he'll clarify this, Seth.
Yes, indeed, Mark, and it is, like you mentioned, it's quite a good gesture. And listen, this is happening right in the battlefront because we are actually outside the Kenyatta National Hospital Infectious Disease Unit, which is at the Mbagathi Hospital, like you said. And it's not just about offering that particular support for their colleagues. They are also in the forefront in terms of combating this particular pandemic ever since it was announced and confirmed in the country on the March of 13th. But now, even to get a clear glimpse of how they're doing that, we're going to talk to the president of the National Nurses Association of Kenya, and I have here Alfred Obengo. And before I bring in Obengo, you realize that the nurses have been on the forefront in this particular war, and they have been sacrificing. Remember that they have, even suspended what used to be their regular off duties and also leave. And this is just to make sure that they are protecting fellow Kenyans who are being required to stay at home. And quite a good gesture. Today you've brought lunch to your colleagues. And how did you even think about it?
Oh, thank you so much. Our purpose today of coming to infectious disease unit at Pagadi Hospital was actually a very, very humble gesture from a Kenyan citizen, Katara, who actually sent me a message via Facebook Messenger that he was just following our conversation of how we are talking about our frontline warriors, the nurses, the doctors, and all other health workers on the front line. And she asked me if she could donate some food stuff so that as a gesture just to motivate and to stand by the frontline health workers, which we have organized and we are giving them today. We are offering that today.
Give us the numbers of the nurses, or rather the medics inside the Kenyatta National Hospital infectious unit. Remember that this is I don't want to call it a red spot, but it's a very critical area because each and everyone that has been confirmed is being brought here for treatment, and yet you are just, even risking your own lives to do this gesture. Tell us about, first of all, the numbers. How many nurses are inside there, or rather the medics who are conducting this particular critical and emergency operation, and especially on patients? How many are they?
From the statistics that you are given, because when you are bringing food, you must know how many people you are bringing food to. We are given a statistics of 50 healthcare workers who are inside, and they're from different backgrounds. We have nurses, we have doctors, we have records officers, we have lab officers, we have support staff, we have security, we have administrators, all of them packaged together. So we were told that today we bring a lunch for 50 persons.
Wow.
Yes.
Is this a one-off thing? Is it going to be persistent? And are you appealing to other people who would want to join this cause?
Thank you so much. In fact, we want to thank the nation media, NTV in particular, for coming to show the country this kind of gesture, because we will wish that, just like the president has formed the emergency response fund, where we are having people and Kenyans of goodwill contributing to this war. We will wish also the people, also the Kenyans, other Kenyans, to come directly to us and contribute to the frontline warriors, so that we can motivate them. And actually, this is a gesture to show and demonstrate that we stand by our frontline warriors. And you definitely know that at this time, if you don't feed and take care of your frontline warriors well, then you lose the battle. That is why we are here, to stand with them and show them the solidarity that is needed.
And the solidarity needed is also required you to be having the PPEs. Just tell us about the procedure, because they're inside the wards. It is very critical. And so what do you use? Do you use some sort of PPEs? And where do they take this lunch from? Is there a designated area in form of a canteen? How is it done, literally?
Okay, another objective and purpose why we are here is to demystify this issue of fear and panic that people have. In this environment, you must not don the full PPE everywhere. There are only sections whereby when you cross, then you must don the full PPEs. Where they are eating lunch, it's a free area where it's aerated. And this is not a prison per se, because we have also had patients being tested negative and being discharged to their homes. So it's not a prison that people should have that kind of stigma towards it. And that is the reason why we are also to destigmatize this whole hula-baloo about COVID.
Finally, are we winning this war from the forefront? You as the soldiers, are you winning?
If we take up the advice, the instructions, the measures that the President, His Excellency, the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has given, if we take up the measures that our able Cabinet Secretary has given, we shall win this war. The only problem is that we are seeing this war as a government war, just like the CS said today. If you can take up personal responsibility to do whatever little you can to combat this war, we are going to win it. Because this issue of people assembling in a vehicle or closing themselves in a hotel and then they start partying, these are things that must stop if you have to win this war. Okay. So we are appealing to Kenyans to take up personal responsibility insofar as combating this war is concerned. This is the only way you're going to win it. But if you leave it just for the healthcare workers, that is their business, then we are not going to win it. Okay. Yes.
And of course, we're winning the war. That is according to Alfred Obengo, he wants me to call him the president of the National Nurses Association, and rightly put there, he is the president, he is the head. They just brought in lunch for 50 workers, their colleagues who are here at the Kenyatta National Hospital Infectious Unit at the Mbagathi Hospital, and they say that as much as moral support is needed in this, they also have to support them literally by just offering foodstuff, and that is a motivation much needed, especially during this time when Kenya is really battling the pandemic. And that is the update we have right now, Mark, Masai. And of course, we know that the National Emergency Committee for the COVID-19 is meeting as we speak right now at the Ministry of Health offices, that is at Afya House. After that, we expect that the CS for Health, that is Mutahi Kagwe, is going to address the nation in regards to the status of the coronavirus pandemic. Mark.
And we'll definitely be crossing over live to that as soon as it starts. Thank you very much, Seto Lale, for that update, and also encouraging words from those in the front line that indeed it takes all of us. It's not just a government fight, it takes all of us. And if we take heed of what we've been encouraged or advised to do, we will win this. And yes, a good gesture there to their colleagues, taking them some lunch at this hour. Away from the COVID-19 related news, several people have died and hundreds others displaced in Chesegon and Elgeyo Marakwet in West Pokot County. This is following the heavy downpour that continues to be witnessed across the country. The county government of West Pokot says it is working with the national government to help the affected people, while on the other hand appealing to well-wishers to give a hand to those who have been displaced.
This border operator came face to face with death as he tried to battle with Mother Nature in order to save his motorcycle from being swept away by the raging water. His efforts did not yield fruit as it took a village to snatch him back from the clutches of death. This has been the situation in Chesegon area in West Pokot County. Floods have seen lives lost and hundreds displaced after their homes were swept away. Pokot Central Sub-County Deputy Commissioner Simiu Wera says the floods have caused a lot of damage, leading to the submersion of Chesegon Police Station, the main market as well as schools in the area. West Pokot Governor John Lonyangapuo has said that joint rescue efforts are underway. Elsewhere, residents of Kinoo are counting losses after their households flooded following the heavy downpour. This has led many of the residents to seek shelter elsewhere. They are now pointing fingers at Kenha for failing to ensure that the road contractors built proper drainage to channel the rainwater.
We are facing is the storm water, which normally comes during the rainy season. It is also coupled by the constructions, as you can see, of the roads, because they don't have a clear plan for the drainage of this place. More so, it is coupled by the storm water being coming from that other end and still coming down to this other end, making all those residences to flood with water.
Residents are now fearing an outbreak of waterborne diseases and now calling on the county government to help dig trenches to divert the water so as to avert any lacking danger. Helen Aura, NTV.
A suspected COVID-19 patient who was under quarantine in Kericho town and managed to escape to Kisii has been apprehended by Area Directorate of Criminal Investigation officers. The woman who reportedly traveled from Uganda and had been in isolation only to managed to escape and visit her lover, apparently in Kisii town. Directorate of Criminal Investigation officers swung into action after being alerted by their Kericho counterparts on the matter. The woman was arrested at Darajambili Residential Estate a day after her escape. Her boyfriend was arrested too. The two were handed over to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital for medical tests.
And we realized that she had spent the night within Kisii County. After some brief interrogation, she disclosed the partner where she spent the night. We also did the contact tracing, and we handed over the two persons to the medical personnel.
Residents from Mombasa County are pleading with the government to focus on the mentally sick people as the country grapples with COVID-19 pandemic. Coronavirus is seen as a threat to many mentally ill people who roam the streets and marketplaces, endangering their lives and those of many. They want them to be taken to rehabilitation centers so that they can be taken care of during this time of a public health crisis.
Inapoangalia watu binafsi ambao wana afya zao kuhakikisha kwamba wametarget watapeleka vyakula kila sehemu. Swali langu ni kuuliza kwamba hawa wagonjwa ambao wanaugua akili wako mabarabarani kila sehemu katika hii Mombasa County, serikali imepanga nini? Kwa sababu hakuna njia, wanaweza lockdown wananchi wa kawaida kule ndani, halafu sasa hawa wengine wanazunguka kama wanyama, hawana kwa kwenda. Kwa hivyo mimi naiomba serikali inapopanga mipangilio yao ijue kwamba anayeugua akili nje anahitaji zaidi mahitaji, na yeye pia yuko katika high risk ya kushikwa katika haya magonjwa ya corona.
Just a few minutes ago, we had that story, a wrap actually, around the country of the areas that have been most affected by the heavy downpour. And the government spokesman has issued a statement in reaction to this, in response to this rather, and says, following the heavy rains being experienced in many parts of the country, a heavy downpour on Saturday, 18th April, in Mbut Forest in Elgeyo Marakwet County instigated a heavy mudslide in West Pokot County. The mudslide swept through the Chesegon Center in West Pokot, leaving a trail of destruction. A search and rescue operation is currently in progress, and already 3 people who suffered serious injuries have been rescued, and arrangements are being made to airlift them to Eldoret for specialized treatment. Just part of the statement that has been issued by the spokesperson for the government on this matter as they respond to those who've been affected by the heavy downpour and the mudslide. And on to the world in Kinangop, beg your pardon. The world corona came into the limelight towards the end of 2019. And to date, pretty much every single person on the face of the earth hears it, almost on a daily basis. Before late 2019, it was a name that many did not know. But for residents of Kinangop, Nyandarua County, corona has lived among them since the 1980s, entertaining them with his music. Sharon Baranga reports.
60-year-old John Wanyoike, popularly known as Corona, is a resident of Njabini Township, Kinangop, in Nyandarua County. He is an artist, and in 1980, he coined a name that will be his trademark, Corona. Corona, as he is known to many people, coined the name together with his brother when they started the Kinangop Corona Boys Band and released their first album in 1982.
Na jina la usanii naitwa John Corona. Watu wote, hata watoto wangu wote, watu wanawaita Corona.
Corona says they settled on the name simply because when they arrived in Kinangop, it was dark and their music brought some light. Corona is an English word used in astronomy to mean the glow surrounding the sun or moon or other stars, and is only visible during a total eclipse. For Wanyoike, the name was fitting given the dark hour he and his brother arrived in Kinangop. Their arrival was meant to liven the mood of Kinangop residents. At first, he spelled his name Corona with a C, but later changed the spelling to start with a K.
Nilibadilisha C kwa hiyo signboard yangu nikaweka K. Juu watoto wengi walikuwa wanasoma Shorona. Nikaona hawa watoto wanashindwa kusoma, nikasema wacha niweke K. Ndio wasome vizuri lakini jina ni corona ile ya C tangu zamani from 1980.
Nimemjua kwa miaka mingi, lakini nilikuwa najua jina lake, hatujui jina lingine. Tunajua jina lake ni corona, na alikuwa muibaji na mchoraji wa picha.
Sasa wakati jina corona ilikuja au hii ugonjwa inaitwa corona, nilijiuliza jambo la kwanza, mbona akajiita corona na mbona kwa kuja na ugonjwa inajiita corona? Sasa hiyo swali ni swali ambao nimekuwa nikijiuliza, but sijapata jibu yoyote.
And they were not only dealing with music. The Coronas were also the brand owners of Corona Cinemas, where they specialized in running shows in local primary schools around Kinangop.
Nilikuwa nasikia jina corona tukiwa kwa shule. Tulikuwa tunaletewa sinema zinaitwa corona. Hata nilikuwa nasindwa kwani hii ni picha inaitwa corona ama ni mtu.
Amenisaidia kabisa juu amenipatia hata kibada hapa nje kwake ili niweze kulisha watoto wangu, na alafu anasaidiaga mkaa mtoto wangu mambo ya kushona hata saa hizi.
And as the world continues to grapple with the coronavirus pandemic, what started as his trademark name in 1980 has all of a sudden blown up in Njambini. At times, a number of people visit his premises out of curiosity, while others avoid him, associating the name with a bad omen. Currently, Corona lives in Njambini town. He focuses on artistic works, mainly designing signboards and rubber stamps. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Not sure if he'll consider rebranding, but hey, from the man called Corona in Nyandarua, or maybe locally Corona. Let's take a break here on NTV at 1. I'll be back with more.
Let the music hit you, move you, or just make you end your day perfectly. Catch hit after hit of music that gets you grooving on weekday nights. Only on NTV.
Why is food security so important now, and why does it matter for smallholder farmers? Well, smallholder farmers comprise 70% of Kenya's population. They are the backbone and have to be at the center of any intervention that is looking at food security. But we really need to look at the entire food value chain if we're going to make sure that food security is secured for all Kenyans. Join me on Wednesday at the Leadership Forum with NTV as we discuss this important question of food security in a time of COVID-19.
Nation Leadership Forum. Engaging society, impacting the nation.
Maritime tips brought to you by Kenya Maritime Authority. Precautions for vessel and boat owners, operators, coxswains and passengers. Personal hygiene. Practice frequent hand hygiene, coughing and sneezing etiquette. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces on board the boats and vessels such as steering wheel, safety or guardrails and seats. Crew members, coxswains and passengers to regularly disinfect life jackets. Practice frequent hand washing with soap. Wear a mask on board a boat or vessel. Boat owners and operators to comply with government directives on movement restrictions within counties. Kenya Maritime Authority for safe and efficient water transport.
Discovered the world-famous Smallfix and saw the difference. Let's see how absorbent Smallfix is. Smallfix, thanks to its ultra-absorbent particles, can keep more liquid than the other diaper brand, so you can use it comfortably all day long. All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Welcome back to a 1 o'clock news update. Young innovators from Madhioya in Murang'a County have come up with an automatic water and soap dispensing machine to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The innovators say the machine is designed to be fully automatic with no human operation, thereby limiting the spread of the same.
It has become a common occurrence in many public places to find water and soap for people to wash their hands as a measure to fight COVID-19. But James Nyakera has gone a notch higher to invent an automatic hand washing machine. The machine works with a number of sensors that are able to sense hands. It dispenses soap, then gives 1 for 4 seconds before water runs for 20 seconds. According to James, the machine can run on alternative sources of current other than electricity, making it easy to be used in rural areas.
Basically, this machine doesn't require any knob. You just put your hands there, and it automatically dispenses the liquid soap and water.
In Mwea, Kirinyaga County, a 28-year-old man has assembled a hand washing equipment where the person washing the hands does not have to touch the tap. The equipment, which can be powered by electricity, solar power and batteries, has been fitted with sensors which help in releasing water immediately hands are brought near it. According to Frederick Mwatha, he came up with the equipment to heed calls by the government on washing hands and to avoid touching surfaces that have been touched by others. Also in Meru County, a group of youth from Igembe North have been sensitizing residents on COVID-19 and preventive measures guidelines as per the Ministry of Health. According to Amaton Mugambi, a group member, they came up with the initiative of educating the community after they realized that most of the community members were not adhering to the Ministry of Health preventive guidelines. Hali Magongo, NTV.
Letters Developers Limited Company is on the spot for flouting an agreement with its investors and failing to complete the construction of houses on time for a number of people who had invested in their project. A group of 28 investors are blaming the company for flouting the agreement on completing their 3-bedroom houses in Mashariki Estate along Kenyatta Road in Kiambu. And one of its investors, Eunice Wairimo, says the project has stalled since 2017, yet it was supposed to take a year to be completed. Eunice has also so far paid 3.2 million shillings with nothing to call home. The investors are accusing the management of threatening those demanding for their houses. Efforts to get a comment from Letters Developers were futile.
Kwanza 3.2 million na tukabakisha balance ya 50,000. So kutoka hapo tukagojea kuitiwa manyumba. Tumegojea kwa almost 3 years now. Na hakuna kitu wanatuambia, wanatupeleka tu hivi. Hiyo issue ya move kwa court nilitolewa kwa WhatsApp group. Jaribu kumpigia simu but hakuna kushika simu yangu. Kwa Kenya wajichunge sana na hizi makampuni, especially Letters Developers.
Operators of beauty and barbershops want Murang'a County government to allow them to continue with business. Speaking after meeting in Murang'a town, they appealed to the county government to consider revoking the order, saying they were ready to adhere to the laid down public health guidelines. The traders said most of them are the breadwinners in their families, and without their businesses, their families are struggling to survive. They remarked that staying at home with their families for the 2 weeks so far has drained their small savings. Wairia closed down the shop, saying it would be impossible to maintain the required social distance between the operators and their clients.
Watu tumeajiri walikuwa pale on the ground kwa food kwa vijana, na tunakumbuka hiyo ni project ilianzishwa na our governor Mwagi Wairia, na tunaomba sasa watoto watakufa na sisi pia tutakufa njaa sababu hatuna kitu cha kujimudu.
Kuna wengine wetu ambao hawana mabwana, ni wao tegemeo nyumbani kwao, hata wazazi wao wanawategemea, na kazi zetu tu hizi za salon ndizo tu zinatupatianga riziki yetu. Kwa hivyo tunataka kuappeal to our governor, please tukubalishe turudi kazi.
Na tunajua anasema no wera tu, na tunakubali na hiyo. Akubali tuendelee na kazi yetu, na tutaangalia ile maneno yote Ministry of Health through Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe tutayafuatilia.
Briefly on the international scene, as US President Donald Trump announced that his government would cut off funding to the World Health Organization, global citizens came together on Saturday for a virtual concert aimed at voicing solidarity with the health workers in the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic and raising funds to ensure they have the necessary tools with which to fight at their disposal.
They say music is food for the soul.
And I'll be a friend.
And on Saturday, over 100 musicians in America, the United Kingdom and Italy performed in a concert streamed online in honor of health workers battling the COVID-19 pandemic. From home, the musicians led by Lady Gaga belted out tunes in performances broadcast on US television, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram through not-for-profit Global Citizen. The A-list performers included John Legend and Sam Smith in a duet of Ben King's Stand By Me, the Rolling Stones, who performed their hit single You Can't Always Get What You Want, legends Elton John and Celine Dion also lent their vocals to the cause, which aims to raise funds for the World Health Organization on the heels of an announcement by US President Donald Trump that his government would be cutting off its funding. As the household names came together from home from their pianos, violinist Lena Yokoyama was a sight to behold atop the roof of Italy's Cremona's hospital.
My director Mike says here in Ikali, and I definitely agree, and it would be something, quite the spectacle to have our very own come together. I know there have been some who've done their launch of albums and songs, but coming together to encourage even the Kenyans here would be quite something. To the sporting world, speaking of coming together, there are some of the sporting people who have done what they can on their part. But first of all, AC Milan striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic returned to training in Sweden. The club in Hammarby, to be specific, the club he part owns, as the coronavirus pandemic continues to lock down Italy, has fueled speculation regarding his future. Italian newspaper Gazzetta dello Sport reported the 38-year-old Ibrahimovic will choose against renewing his Milan deal, which finishes at the end of the season. The Swedish outfit's president said the decision was in the hands of the attacker, who played 116 times for his country before retiring from international duty in 2016. Ibrahimovic's last Milan appearance was a league loss to Genoa on the 8th of March. All football in Italy has been suspended due to the coronavirus, which has claimed the lives of nearly 18,000 people, actually more than 18,000 people in that country. Speaking of sportsmen doing their part to help, former Tour de France champion Geraint Thomas has raised the equivalent of 39,040,000 shillings for Britain's National Health Service after a 36-hour indoor cycling stint. The Welshman rode a trio of 12-hour rides over 3 days on a turbo bike in the garage of his home in Cardiff in a bid to raise funds to tackle the coronavirus outbreak. The 12-hour rides were to emulate a typical shift of an NHS worker. Professional cycling, in common with all major sport worldwide, has been suspended following the spread of the virus, with this year's Tour de France delayed from June and July until August and September, respectively. FIFA has enlisted the help of 50 football stars to appreciate the efforts of healthcare workers on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic in a campaign titled we will win. In a video released on the governing body's social media page, the likes of Pele, Diego Maradona, David Beckham, Kaká and Mata da Silva offer a round of applause. FIFA wishes to recognize the risk that doctors, nurses and essential workers are taking on a daily basis. The coronavirus has so far led to over 161,000 deaths worldwide, bringing sport to a complete standstill. Well, not that it will add to that, but whatever it may, just to encourage the many, we'd like to appreciate those who are locally on the front line and helping in this. And I'm sure you would join in the applause where you are watching from. Stay at home, stay safe. My name is Mark Masai. Good afternoon.